Okay. I got around to seeing Eternals recently, and I want to talk about it. I am familiar mildly with the comics before we get into this. I have read Neil Gaiman's 7-issue miniseries published in 2007 with the characters as the central focus that was meant to kind of reintroduce them into the Marvel Universe after Civil War. But let's talk about the movie first and some of its background. This movie has been delayed a couple times out of 2020 due to COVID-19, and its director, Chloe Zhao, in the meantime, has won an Academy Award. I want to say for Best Picture. I don't remember. I have not seen Nomadland. I want to say it's Best Picture. Pop up on the screen if I am correct. I haven't seen that, and I haven't seen The Writer, which I know are her two feature films that people have known and really like. So this is my first exposure to her as a director. I like her tone and style. Do I like this movie? Not really. I'll be honest with you. A lot of it has to do more with it feeling like it has a clash of tones the more I think about it. I like Chloe Zhao's style. I like the kind of mythical god status that these characters have when it shows it. Part of it feels like it wants them to be these big gods high in the sky that are mightier than us. There's a quote in the original comic. I can't remember it word for word, but Tony Stark comes in and wants them to sign up for superhero registration. And I think it's Ajax in the comics who says it is, it's like looking down as a human and seeing ants quarreling. This is not our deal, or this is not our fight. And kind of tells Tony to just fuck off. It's a cool moment, and I think I wanted more of something like that in this, because a lot of the story does revolve around how they are gods. The movie has a lot of exposition that it needs to get out of the way when discussing things. There's a text crawl at the beginning. There's a 7-minute scene that explains who the Eternals are and what the Celestials are and what their purpose is. I'm not getting into spoilers, so that's for the movie itself. One of my biggest criticisms of this movie is its action. A lot of the action, especially for these characters who have Superman-level strength and speed and the ability to do things, is that things don't feel like they have impact to themselves. You can see this strength and everything. You can watch as someone punches an enemy away and it flies off into the background. But it doesn't feel like it has an impact to it. I don't feel the weight of the punch. Character-wise, it's fine. I like the actors. I like the director. The script is fine, maybe a little too bloated for its own good. It's just there are 10 characters you have to establish and give a backstory to. And in 2.5 hours, there's no way you can introduce that many people and give them all fleshed out personalities. They all have a personality, but after a while, they kind of start to blend in because, you know, maybe this one gets a scene here versus here. And, you know, the main character is Cersei. And I understand why she is the main character. I would argue this movie is about learning to change and learning to be human. Great idea. You have 10 characters that you need to represent that theme through, and Cersei kind of gets that good moment. Same with Icarus. Both of them being, I would argue, the two central characters to this piece. Have that moment. But there's something else that's just missing. It feels like the movie is hollow. There's a structure there, but there's nothing in the center that's keeping everything afloat, and it starts to crumble down on itself. Is this the worst Marvel movie? No. It is by far not. There are interesting ideas here. Thor: The Dark World, which I would argue is probably the worst Marvel movie, is boring. And in my opinion, that is the greatest cardinal sin a movie can commit, is just be boring. I was interested in the Eternals. I wanted to know what happens next. But it didn't leave me feeling anything interesting. It didn't leave me concerned after Infinity War or elated after the first Iron Man. A forgettable movie is fine. Far From Home was forgettable for me. Ant-Man and the Wasp was forgettable for me. This movie might feel more like it's going to be a forgettable one. I listened to people after I left the theaters when I went to like the bathroom and everything, and I kind of listened in on conversations. A lot of people are saying they're coming into this with low expectations, and it's failing to meet them. Part of that, I think, is due to the fact that this is Jack Kirby sci-fi weirdness. This is Chariot of the Gods, the original ancient aliens myth. Yes, this is condensed down from the original idea, which is the New Gods at DC. Jack Kirby created them after he left Marvel, and then he left DC after they messed with the New Gods. And now he is here with Marvel creating, or he was there with Marvel creating the Eternals, which is a simplified thing of his ability to create his own larger scale mythology and everything. And my biggest fear, even before this movie, when it was announced, was that they probably wouldn't be the type of thing that a general audience would go for. I honestly think Chloe Zhao was a great choice for this movie, especially knowing that she is more naturalistic tone poem pieces. I just think it didn't fit with... There's the clash of Chloe Zhao tone and Marvel tone. And it needed a guiding hand to kind of meld those two together into something that needed to work. So yeah, I don't want to give a score. I am interested in this movie, but I don't necessarily like it. It's a complicated movie because there's a lot of things that I don't like about it, and there are things that I like and I think could have been done better. So yeah, go see it because I think it's probably going to play in later down the road, especially with things that are revealed later in the movie. It's a wait for Disney Plus type of movie to me. Seeing this in theaters, I didn't get anything special. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the Eternals.